What does Piglet have in common with James Sunderland from Silent Hill 2? More than you'd think. Did you know Akira Yamaoka returned for the blooper remake and sampled the exact same track that you can hear in the Piglet game? At first glance, Piglet's Big Game and Silent Hill 2 couldn't be more different. One is a children's game based on the Winnie the Pooh franchise, designed to teach kids about bravery and friendship. The other is a psychological horror masterpiece delving into themes of guilt, grief, and existential despair. And yet, both games follow protagonists who are unexpectedly similar. You might have seen this video on Twitter, where Piglet walks through an eerie castle, gaining thousands of likes. When I first saw this, I thought it reminded me most of an early Resident Evil game, or maybe a modded version of Haunting Ground where someone switched Fiona Belly's player model with piglets. Turns out this is just what the original game looks like. People have started to akin the game to Silent Hill. I believe it's because of the recent release of the blooper remake. But looking further, there are more similarities between these two franchises. Both Piglet and James embark on deeply personal journeys, facing manifestations of their inner fears, doubts, and insecurities. Both confront shadowy adversaries that embody their deepest struggles. As Piglet's Big Game gains a cult following for its eerie, accidental horror qualities, fans have started drawing comparisons between the timid Piglet and the haunted James Sunderland. The similarities don't stop there. Granosaurus, the shadowy figure haunting Piglet, bears striking thematic resemblances to Pyramidhead, James's infamous tormentor. Even the surreal dream worlds of Piglet's adventure echo the psychological landscapes of Silent Hill. Today, we're diving deep into these unexpected parallels to explore what they reveal about fear, self-discovery, and the power of storytelling. In Piglet's Big Game, the titular character embarks on a quest to help his friends by entering their dreams. Pooh, Tigger, Rabbit, and others are plagued by anxieties that Piglet must help resolve. Each dream world reflects its dreamer's personality, from Pooh's candy-coated landscape to Owl's dark, endless library.
Owl, pirouette!
No, that's not it.
Don't you remember me? My name is...
No! I forgot! I forgot everything!
James? Honey? Did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful.
Piglet and James, vulnerability and growth. Both characters are defined by their vulnerabilities. Piglet's anxiety is woven into every moment of his story. He second-guesses himself, stutters when he speaks, and feels overwhelmed by the challenges he faces. This deeply relatable sense of self-doubt resonates with anyone who has ever felt unprepared for a daunting task. Piglet's anxiety isn't just a quirk, it's a defining struggle that shapes his interactions and his journey. James's vulnerability is more internalized. Haunted by guilt, he begins his journey clinging to the hope that his wife, Mary, is still alive, despite knowing on some level that she isn't. His grief and guilt weigh heavily on him, coloring his every action. Like Piglet, James is unsure of his own strength, and his journey forces him to grapple with truths he has repressed. Despite their initial hesitations, both characters push forward, compelled by something greater than themselves. For Piglet, it's the love and compassion he feels for his friends. Even when terrified, he enters their dreams, determined to help them overcome their fears. For James, the journey is more complex. While he shows compassion for others, like Laura and Angela, his true motivation is to confront his own guilt and find closure, whether through redemption or punishment. Both characters grow through their struggles. Piglet discovers that courage isn't about being fearless, it's about acting in spite of fear. This revelation is celebrated with a joyful picnic, affirming his newfound confidence and the love his friends have for him. James's growth is less clear-cut, as his ultimate fate depends on the player's choices. But his journey towards self-awareness and confrontation of his guilt is no less profound. Granosaurus and Pyramidhead, parallels as embodiments of fear. Both the Granosaurus and Pyramidhead are isolated to their protagonists, emphasizing their roles as deeply personal struggles rather than external threats. Their interactions with Piglet and James are mirrors of the internal conflicts each character must face. Piglet's Granosaurus reflects his fear of inadequacy, while James's Pyramidhead embodies his need for self-punishment. The creature's invisibility to others reinforces the isolating nature of their respective struggles. Piglet's anxiety and James's guilt are battles that only they can fight. These parallels extend to their roles in the story's climaxes. For Piglet, the Granosaurus represents the ultimate test of his courage. By standing his ground and scaring it away, he proves to himself that he is capable of bravery, overcoming the self-doubt that has plagued him throughout the game. Similarly, Pyramidhead's role reaches its conclusion when James finally accepts his guilt and responsibility for Mary's death. In one of the game's most striking moments, the two Pyramidheads commit suicide, symbolizing the end of James's need for punishment and his readiness to move forward. The key difference between these two creatures lies in tone. The Granosaurus is designed to evoke a sense of safe horror, suitable for a younger audience, challenging Piglet without traumatizing him or the player. Pyramidhead, by contrast, is a harrowing figure, embodying the brutal and often violent process of confronting one's darkest truths. Yet despite these tonal differences, both creatures serve the same purpose. They externalize the protagonist's fears and force them to confront these emotions, paving the way for personal growth and resolution. The environments, Silent Hill and the Dream Worlds. The dream worlds of Piglet's Big Game and the town of Silent Hill are more than just settings. They are extensions of the protagonist's psyches, shaped by their fears and emotions. In Piglet's Big Game, each dream world is tailored to the dreamer's personality but also reflects Piglet's own anxieties. Owl's dark, maze-like library and Eeyore's gloomy castle are particularly evocative, emphasizing Piglet's smallness and vulnerability. These environments are unsettling not because they are overtly dangerous but because they tap into a sense of unease, the feeling of being out of place or overwhelmed. Silent Hill, on the other hand, is a town steeped in dread. Its foggy streets, decaying buildings, and grotesque creatures create an atmosphere of constant tension. The town mirrors James's inner turmoil, its shifting nature reflecting his fragmented memories and suppressed emotions. Every corner of Silent Hill feels alive with the weight of James's guilt, turning the environment itself into an antagonist. Both games use their environments to immerse players in the protagonist's emotional journeys. Piglet's dream worlds and Silent Hill's eerie streets are not just backdrops but active participants in the storytelling, drawing players into the characters' struggles and growth. Piglet's impact on children, a gateway to emotional awareness. For younger audiences, Piglet's Big Game is more than an adventure, it's an introduction to emotional resilience. Through Piglet's struggles, children learn that fear and anxiety are normal, and that bravery is about confronting these feelings rather than erasing them. The game models emotional awareness and compassion, giving children the tools to understand and express their own worries. This isn't just a story about a small character facing big challenges, it's a lesson in breaking down the stigma surrounding mental health. Piglet's journey offers hope, showing children that fear can be managed and that even the smallest victories are meaningful. These themes, wrapped in a gentle, accessible narrative, make Piglet's Big Game not just a cherished memory but a valuable resource for teaching empathy and courage to a new generation.
That's right. To overcome a fear, you just have to stare it down. Believe in yourself, Piglet. You have a hero inside of you, just waiting to come out.
Maria?
You said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
Meta-narrative, the power of interpretations. Interpretation is the heart of storytelling, especially in games like Silent Hill 2, a title built on layers of symbolism, where every monster, setting, and encounter invites players to project their own fears, guilt, and desires. It's a game designed not to tell you what to think, but to ask what you see in its haunting imagery. The beauty of interpretation is its subjectivity, and that subjectivity is what gives stories life beyond their creators' intentions. Today, we took that same lens and turned it on Piglet's big game. Did the developers intend for Granosaurus to echo Pyramidhead or for Piglet to parallel James Sunderland? Almost certainly not. But art isn't just what's on the canvas, it's how the viewer engages with it. Our interpretations, wild as they may seem, reflect something universal, a desire to find meaning, to draw connections, and to better understand ourselves through the stories we consume. In the end, whether it's Piglet in his dreamscape or James in Silent Hill, these characters teach us that stories are never static. They evolve with us, taking on new dimensions as we revisit them, reshaping our understanding of fear, courage, and even the narratives themselves. And maybe that's the most powerful interpretation of all.
It doesn't matter who I am. I'm here for you, James. See? I'm real.